Have you ever questioned the validity of what we learned in school? As we journey through history and science, we often take the information imparted to us at face value. But what if I told you that not everything we learned in school is as accurate as we were led to believe? Indeed, some of the so-called facts we've been taught are, in fact, misconceptions. Prepare to have your mind blown as we uncover 10 lies taught to us in school. Starting at number 10, we have the common belief that deoxygenated blood is blue. Now, before you start thinking your part, Smurf, let's debunk this myth. You see, the blue color you observe when you look at your veins isn't the actual color of your blood. It's more of a trick of light. To be more precise, it's a phenomenon called light scattering. When light penetrates your skin, it bounces off the underlying tissues and blood vessels. The blue light is absorbed less and scattered more than other colors, hence your veins appear blue or greenish blue from the surface. Your blood, whether it's oxygen-rich or not, is never blue. Oxygenated blood is bright red, and deoxygenated blood is a darker, almost maroon shade of red. So no, your blood isn't blue, despite what your biology textbook might have told you. In at number 9, we tackle the myth of the original American flag. The common belief is that the flag always boasted 13 stripes, a nod to the original 13 colonies. But here's a twist. The original flag actually had only 12 stripes. Why? Because Delaware, often counted among the 13, was never a separate colony. It was part of Pennsylvania until 1776, when it declared itself a state. This piece of history is often overlooked, leading to the widespread misconception. So, the flag that we associate with the birth of the nation is a little different from what we've been led to believe. The 13 stripes we see today didn't appear until later, so the story of our star-spangled banner isn't quite as straightforward as we thought. Coming in at number 8, we debunk the lie that glass is a slow-moving liquid. This myth has been perpetuated through the observation of old window panes, which are often thicker at the bottom. The explanation often given is that over centuries, the glass has slowly flowed downwards. However, this is not the case. The truth of the matter is quite different. The uneven thickness of these old window panes is due to the manufacturing techniques used during the Middle Ages. Glass blowing was the primary method used to create window panes. The process produced a round, flat piece of glass known as a crown, which was then cut into smaller panes. The edges of the crown were thicker, and these would often be placed at the bottom of the window pane for stability. So why do we perceive glass as a liquid? It's likely because, at a molecular level, glass is disordered, much like a liquid, but its molecules are packed too tightly together to move around, making it a solid, so your windows are not slowly melting, they're just showing their age. At number 7, we address the origins of slavery. A commonly misconstrued notion is the belief that the roots of slavery can be traced back to white people kidnapping Africans. This, however, is a gross oversimplification and far from the truth. The reality is a much more complex web of transactions and betrayals. In fact, many Africans were sold into slavery by other Africans. These African slave traders would often capture individuals from rival tribes during conflicts and wars, selling them to European traders. It was a heartbreaking trade rooted in power dynamics, greed, and a lack of humanity. This isn't to absolve any party of their role in this grim chapter of history. The European traders who bought these slaves were equally culpable, perpetuating a system of oppression and brutality that lasted for centuries. So the origins of slavery are much more complex and heartbreaking than we were led to believe. Halfway through our list, at number 6, we delve into Abraham Lincoln's views on slavery. Often hailed as the great emancipator, Lincoln's stance on slavery wasn't as straightforward as we're often led to believe. Yes, he issued the Emancipation Proclamation, which declared an end to slavery in Confederate-held territory. But it's crucial to remember that this was a wartime decision aimed primarily at undermining the Confederacy's resources. Lincoln's personal views on slavery were indeed conflicting. He expressed on numerous occasions that, while he found slavery morally reprehensible, he believed in the preservation of the Union above all else. In fact, in an 1862 letter to Horace Greeley, Lincoln wrote, "If I could save the Union without freeing any slave, I would do it." Such statements reveal a much more complex picture than the simple narrative of Lincoln as an unwavering crusader for racial equality. So Lincoln's stance on slavery isn't as black and white as our textbooks would have us believe. At number 5, we shatter the myth about how diamonds are formed. Picture this: a piece of coal, under immense pressure, transforming into a dazzling diamond. Sounds romantic, doesn't it? But in reality, that's not quite how it works. Diamonds are not made from highly compressed coal. Instead, they are formed deep within the Earth's mantle, about 100 miles beneath the surface. Here, extreme heat and pressure crystallize carbon atoms over 1 billion years, resulting in the formation of diamonds. These diamonds then hitch a ride to the surface on molten rock during volcanic eruptions. The rock cools to form kimberlite or lamproite, known as diamond pipes, which are the primary sources of diamond mining. Coal, on the other hand, is formed from prehistoric plants close to the Earth's surface, and it rarely, if ever, gets the chance to metamorphose into a diamond. So the next time you look at a diamond, remember it's not just a piece of coal that handled stress well. Coming in at number 4, we confront the lie about the religious beliefs of America's founding fathers. The common misconception that they were all Christian is far from the truth. While many of them were indeed Christian, a significant number of these influential figures identified as deists. What does that mean? Deism is a philosophical belief in a higher power, a creator who does not intervene in the universe. Unlike Christianity, which follows the teachings of the Bible, deism does not adhere to any particular holy book or specific religious doctrines. Notable founding fathers like Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, and possibly even George Washington were thought to be deists. They believed in a divine entity, but did not strictly follow the Christian faith as it is traditionally understood. Their beliefs were more complex, more nuanced, reflecting the diversity of thought that laid the groundwork for the United States as we know it today. So the religious beliefs of our founding fathers were much more diverse than we were taught. Before we reveal our number 1 lie, let's recap what we've learned so far. We've debunked a collection of popular misconceptions that have somehow found their way into our school textbooks and curriculums. We learned that deoxygenated blood isn't blue. It merely appears that way due to a trick of light. We've also debunked the myth that the original American flag had 13 stripes. In reality, it started with 12, as Delaware was never a separate colony. Next, we talked about how glass isn't a slow-moving liquid, contrary to popular belief. The thicker bottoms of old window panes are due to how they were manufactured in the Middle Ages, not because glass flows over time. Then we hit on the deeply rooted misconception about the origins of slavery. It did not start with white people kidnapping Africans, but was in fact a result of Africans being sold to Europeans by other African slave traders. We also examined the complex stance of Abraham Lincoln on slavery, revealing that his views were more conflicting than we were taught, and his Emancipation Proclamation was a wartime decision, not a statement on racial equality. We also learned that diamonds are not made from highly compressed coal. They are formed deep within the Earth's mantle and are brought to the surface by volcanic eruptions. Finally, we addressed the misconception that all the founding fathers of America were Christian. In truth, many were deists who believed in a higher power, but did not follow the Bible explicitly. Now brace yourself for the biggest lie taught to us in school. And finally, at number 1, the biggest lie taught to us in school is that Christopher Columbus discovered America. The truth is, by the time Columbus arrived in 1492, America was already inhabited by Native American tribes who had been there for thousands of years. Not to mention the Viking explorer Leif Erikson had already set foot on North American soil around the year 1000. So, the idea that Columbus discovered a land where people were already living is certainly a myth. Furthermore, Columbus himself believed he had reached Asia, not a new world. His voyages were significant, not because he was the first to discover America, but because they marked the beginning of continuous European exploration and eventual colonization of the Americas. And there you have it, the biggest lie we were taught in school. Well, that concludes our journey through 10 lies taught to us in school. It's been a fascinating trip, hasn't it? Unraveling these misconceptions has shown us the importance of critical thinking and fact-checking in our learning process. So let's not stop here. Continue to challenge, question, and explore the world of knowledge around you. Remember, question everything and keep learning. Please subscribe to Unbelievable Top 10 for more mind-boggling facts.